Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Global. We'll get you the top stories from India and the region. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, and for news from the rest of the world, I'm joined by my colleague in London, Ollie Barrett. Good to have you with us, Ollie.
Good to be with you, Shubhendu. It's 12:30 p.m. here in London, 1:30 p.m. across Central Europe. Coming up in the next half an hour, we'll get you the latest from Bangladesh, attempts to de-escalate in West Asia, and Donald Trump and Elon Musk enjoy a glitchy conversation. First, the headlines.
UN Chief Antonio Guterres urges Bangladesh's interim government to make every effort to be inclusive and safeguard minority communities. United States denies involvement in ousting Sheikh Hasina. Elon Musk interviews Donald Trump. Republican presidential candidate says Biden dropping off the ticket was a coup. India's DRDO successfully tests fires made in India portable anti-tank missile, shoulder-launched missile system designed to neutralize enemy tanks and armored vehicles. And study reveals Martian subsurface harbors oceans of life-giving liquid water. Data from NASA's InSight lander suggests conditions conducive to microbial life. Let's first talk about Bangladesh. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has welcomed efforts of Bangladesh's interim government to restore calm. However, UN chief also urged Bangladesh government to consider the voices of minorities and respect human rights as it prepares for parliamentary elections. In a statement issued by Farhan Haq, deputy spokesperson for Secretary General, Guterres said he stands in full solidarity with people of Bangladesh. Guterres urged Bangladesh's interim government, led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, to continue to make every effort in the coming weeks to be inclusive, including by taking into account voices of women, youth, and people across the country, as well as those of minority and indigenous communities, as the country moves towards parliamentary elections. Meanwhile, United States has denied any role in ousting Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who recently quit her position and fled to South Asian nation. Report in an Indian English daily had cited Hasina as accusing the US of playing a role in ousting her because it wanted control over Bangladesh's St. Martin Island in Bay of Bengal. The newspaper said Sheikh Hasina had conveyed that message to it through her close associates, while Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajib Wazid, in a post on X on Sunday said she never made any such statements. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre called the allegations of US interference simply false.
We have had no involvement at all. Any reports or rumors that the United States government was involved in these events is simply false. That is not true. This is a choice for and by the Bangladeshi people. We believe that the Bangladeshi people should determine the future of the Bangladeshi government, and that's where we stand. Any allegations, certainly we will continue to say, and I have said here, is simply untrue.
Bangladesh Foreign Affairs Advisor Mohammad Tawhid Hossain reiterated on Monday that Sheikh Hasina's extended stay in India will not negatively impact the bilateral relations between Bangladesh and India. The comments came after Hossain briefed diplomats in Dhaka. He pointed out that India has its interests in Bangladesh, just as Dhaka has its interests in Delhi. Meanwhile, Home Affairs Advisor Brigadier General Sakhawat Hossain urged the political parties to take steps to prevent scattered violence, including incidents like attack on minority communities. Moving on, in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, intense battle is underway in Russia's Kursk region. Ollie Barrett is in London, gets us more on this and other stories. Ollie, Ukraine appears to be capitalizing on its recent incursion into Russia.
That is certainly what it is trying to do, Shubhendu. Yes, indeed. Kiev has been pounding two Russian regions with drones on Tuesday. Ukraine's top commander claims Kiev's forces control 1,000 square kilometres of Russian territory as ground forces try and push further through defensive lines. Russia's defence ministry says its air defence units destroyed 12 drones over the Kursk region, one over the Belgorod region and one over Voronezh. In retaliation, Russian drones have attacked energy infrastructure in Ukraine's Chernihiv region overnight. And we can go live now to DD India's Megumi Lim, who joins us from Kiev. Megumi, first of all, what is the latest on that Kursk incursion?
Well, fierce battles are still taking place in Russia's Kursk region. 8 days have passed since Ukraine launched this cross-border assault into Russia. And the latest that we're hearing from Ukraine's top commander, Alexander Syrsky, is that Ukrainian forces now reportedly control about 1,000 square kilometers of territory inside the Kursk region. Now, this is an incredibly rapid advance that Ukrainian troops were able to make, which really speaks to how unprepared Russian forces were in not only repelling these border attacks, but in protecting these border settlements on the Russian side. They truly were not expecting Ukrainian troops to pour through the border. Now, this is also perhaps the biggest battlefield advance that Ukrainian troops have seen in more than a year and a half. The last time they were able to capture territory, this much territory, was in 2022 when they were liberating Ukrainian territories from Russian occupation. Now, how long this will last is unclear because Russian forces are still advancing in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region. This is a sector that has seen fierce fighting for weeks and weeks now, and Russian forces are still inching forward, getting closer to key Ukrainian military strongholds. So we will see if Ukraine will have the resources to continue their attacks in both of these sectors, inside Ukraine and inside Russia.
Now, in his nightly address, Megumi, Volodymyr Zelensky directly mentioned the incursion for the first time. Do we have any more clarity about exactly what Ukraine is trying to achieve here?
That's right. For the first time, President Zelensky in his nightly video address mentioned the incursion, although Ukraine has been maintaining a policy of secrecy, at least for the first 5 to 6 days of the Kursk incursion. Yesterday, Zelensky said Russia must be forced to make peace because Putin wanted to fight, and now the war has come home to Russia. And he is referring to what he believes is the need to apply more pressure onto Russia, onto the Kremlin, and onto, of course, President Putin after more than 2.5 years of war that has turned positional, that has turned static, with thousands of lives lost, and also with both sides not budging in terms of seeking a diplomatic solution. And so far, we're seeing that this Kursk incursion has been largely effective in applying this pressure that Zelensky mentioned by placing Putin in an extremely uncomfortable position, because for over 2.5 years, a majority of Russians were largely shielded from this war. But now we are seeing hundreds of thousands of Russian civilians having to evacuate from these border settlements and villages. And now many Russians are feeling the direct impact of this war.
Megumi Lim in Kiev, thank you very much. US President Joe Biden has spoken to the leaders of France, Germany, Italy and the UK to discuss trying to de-escalate tensions in West Asia and a ceasefire in Gaza. Leaders of all the countries said they endorsed a call from the US, Qatar and Egypt for the renewal of talks to try and conclude a Gaza ceasefire deal as soon as possible. The leaders from those countries also called on Iran to stand down its ongoing threats of a military attack against Israel. Iran's foreign ministry has dismissed European and American calls for restraint. DD India's Sarah Coates reports from Tel Aviv.
Tehran is blaming Israel for the assassination of the head of Hamas's Politburo, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran, despite no admission of guilt by the Israeli government. So certainly an extremely tense time here in the region. This is, of course, why the United States has been moving more military hardware to the area. And we do have a little more from the Foreign Ministry spokesperson saying that Tehran is determined to deter Israel, calling on Paris, London and Berlin to once and for all stand up against the war in Gaza and, quote, the warmongering of Israel. And this comes amid other reports in Hebrew media coming out just a few hours ago that Israel will actually strike Iran even if it strikes Israel and causes no civilian casualties. So certainly a very worrying time in the Middle East.
Well, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has spoken with Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian on Monday as part of those de-escalation efforts in West Asia. Downing Street says Keir Starmer asked the president to refrain from attacking Israel and told him that war was not in anyone's interests. Now, in a live interview on X with its owner Elon Musk, US presidential candidate Donald Trump recounted the attempt on his life and pledged the largest deportation in US history. Donald Trump criticized Vice President Kamala Harris and labeled her as fake, blaming her for an influx of illegal migrants. Donald Trump also launched a series of attacks on his opponent over immigration, inflation, and law and order.
Here's what's happening. Crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. You know, this is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be. Yeah. And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happened today. But this is happening every day. But these are rough people. Yeah. These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people.
Donald Trump also blamed President Joe Biden for the Ukraine conflict. He claimed his relationship with Russia's President Vladimir Putin could have prevented the war. The interview faced technical glitches and only began after a delay of around 40 minutes. One person's been killed and thousands have been evacuated as Greece battles its worst wildfire of the year. It continues to burn on the outskirts of the capital, Athens. The flames have reached 80 feet high, leading to a red alert in the region and concerns about air quality. Homes, hospitals and other properties in the area have been damaged. Aircraft are working to extinguish the fire. A team of firefighters, police officers and volunteers have been trying their best to put out the fires as strong winds fan the flames. Greece had already experienced the hottest months on record in June and July. DD India's Giles Gibson has more.
Hundreds of firefighters are on the ground battling the most intense wildfire that Greece has seen so far this summer. Special aircraft are also being used to drop water from the skies above, and Greece has now said that it's requested help from its European neighbours. The European Commission says that 2 planes have been sent from Italy, a special helicopter from France, and fire crews are also being sent from multiple countries, including Serbia, Romania and Italy. Now, this blaze first broke out on Sunday in a place called Varnavas, which is about 30 kilometres to the north of Athens. And we now have reports coming in that a 64-year-old woman has been found dead in a suburb just to the north of the Greek capital. Now, when this fire broke out on Sunday, there were very strong winds in the area, and those winds helped to whip up the blaze and to spread it, with eyewitnesses saying that they saw flames up to 25 metres high. Those winds over the last 24 hours or so have now dropped, which is helping firefighters in their battle against this very strong blaze, but there are still extremely high temperatures in the area, up to 38 degrees Celsius. And forecasters are also saying that those winds could pick up again towards the end of the week. So firefighters are facing a very intense couple of days as they continue battling this wildfire and as reinforcements from other parts of Europe start to arrive. Giles Gibson in Rome reporting for DD India.
Temperatures here in the UK have also surged to their highest point of the year so far, with 34.8 degrees Celsius recorded in Cambridge. According to the Met Office, the high-pressure winds drawing in warm air from Europe caused those temperatures to spike on Monday, but they are returning to average levels on Tuesday. The government on Monday issued a warning that heat could cause increased deaths among the elderly and put pressure on health and social care services. 54 migrants have been rescued by the Spanish NGO Open Arms and the Italian Coast Guard on Tuesday off Lampedusa. The NGO provided life jackets to the rescued migrants until an Italian vessel took them to the island of Lampedusa. During her visit to Albania in June, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni had announced August the 1st as an inauguration date to set up camps in Albania for migrants picked up at sea. That plan is running several weeks behind schedule. And with that, Shibendu, over to you.
Ali, thank you for joining us today. And still to come on DD India Global. North Korean agencies steps up forecast efforts to cope with abnormal weather. And Indians join campaign to hoist the national flag at their homes ahead of the country's Independence Day.
We have with us a very special guest, Olympic bronze medalist Swapnil Kusale. When we talk about you and your journey from TTE to an Olympic bronze medalist,
journey is quite long and lots of challenges I faced, but it's a good journey for me till now, so I'm happy.
You got a call from Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
He called and say Namaskar Bhau kaise aap, like in Marathi language, so it was good to hear that.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Global. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. A recent seismological study has revealed that a vast reservoir of liquid water may be hidden deep beneath the surface of the planet Mars, possibly holding enough to cover the entire planet in a global ocean. This groundbreaking finding, based on data from NASA's InSight lander, suggests that Martian subsurface might offer conditions conducive to microbial life, either in the past or present. The study suggests that much of the water that had been on the Martian surface did not escape into space, but rather filtered down into the crust. North Korea's state weather agency has stepped up efforts for accurate forecasting as the country experiences heat wave and struggles with recent flooding. State Hydrometeorological Administration has been taking innovative steps to rapidly and correctly provide weather information to concerned regions. The Weather Department has said that an abnormal heat wave has been observed in Pyongyang since Monday, with maximum temperatures expected to be around 33 to 37 degrees Celsius in some areas. Heavy rains hit the northwestern areas in late July, flooding more than 4,000 homes. Back home, India's Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO successfully test-fired the Made in India man-portable anti-tank guided missile at the field firing range in Rajasthan's Jaisalmer recently. The missile system, a shoulder-launched system, is designed to neutralise enemy tanks and armoured vehicles. India's Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO is showcasing 40 indigenously developed advanced systems and technologies at the International Defence Aviation Exposition IDEX 2024 at Sulur in southern state of Tamil Nadu. The expo is being attended by the Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary, and Governor of the state. Anand Ravi. The Har Ghar Tiranga is a campaign celebrated across India from 9th to 15th of August this year to encourage people to hoist the national flag at their premises. A bike rally by members of parliament was organised in New Delhi. It was flagged off by Vice President of India.
The Har Ghar Tiranga campaign into its third year saw a bike rally by members of parliament in the national capital in the wee hours of the morning. The Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankar, flagged off the rally and encouraged the spirit of patriotism as India gets ready to celebrate the 78th Independence Day.
मैं सिर्फ एक तिरंगा मार्च को हरी झंडी नहीं दिखा रहा हूं। यह हमारे आजादी की शताब्दी पर विकसित भारत के लिए मैराथन मार्च का हिस्सा है। इसकी शुरुआत कर रहा हूं। आने वाले 15 अगस्त पर हर घर तिरंगा लहराए, शान से लहराए, इस संकल्प के साथ लहराए कि इसकी आन बान शान में बढ़ोतरी होती रहेगी। किसी भी हालत में झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा।
After being flagged off from Bharat Mandapam, the rally navigated the India Gate Circle to culminate at Major Dhyan Chand Stadium. Holding the tricolor afloat, the participants drove on the streets of the national capital led by union ministers, member of parliament, non-government organizations, volunteers, students and general public.
हजारों लोगों ने एक साथ तिरंगा यात्रा निकाल करके अपने संकल्प को सुदृढ़ करते हुए एक संदेश दिया। आप देख सकते हैं किस तरह से जहां तक दिखाई दे रहा है वहां तिरंगा लहरा है।
बहुत जोरदार का माहौल है। गांव-गांव, शहर-शहर, गली-गली, हर जगह तिरंगा लेकर के लोग पैदल चल रहे हैं, गाड़ी में और बाइक में, अलग-अलग तरीके से तिरंगे को लेकर के अपने गाँव में मैंने फोटो भी देखा है। पूरा देश भर में माहौल है और बहुत उत्साहित है।
Opposition parties decided to stay away from this event yet again.
This is not a political program. This is a program for the whole country together, and there is no political flag, there is no political slogan that is here. Then where comes the politicalness in this program? So this is the opposition trying to politicalize everything.
The Har Ghar Tiranga campaign has broken records in the previous two chapters, with the first clocking 6 crore selfies, while the second hit 10 crore selfie buttons. The bike rally embodied the spirit of the campaign and paid tribute to the sacrifices of the nation's freedom fighters and created an excitement amongst the people to be part of the celebrations as India celebrates another Independence Day on the 15th of August this year. Anil Thomas, DD India, New Delhi.
Some key developments on the economic front. India's net direct tax collection grew 22.5% to around $83 billion between April 1st and August 11 of the current fiscal. As per the data released by the nation's income tax department on Monday, net personal income tax has outpaced net corporation tax in the latest tax collection figures. Net personal income tax reached approximately $53.8 billion compared to about $41.4 billion during the same period last year. Let's now turn to other stories making news around the world. An 18-year-old masked man was arrested by Turkish police for stabbing and wounding 5 people in the northwestern city of Eskişehir. 2 of the wounded are in critical condition. The attacker had stabbed people while they were sitting in the garden of a mosque. An investigation to determine the cause of the attack is underway. A sit-in was held in front of Denmark's parliament in support of US-Canadian anti-whaling activist Paul Watson. Watson has been in police custody since last month as Japan seeks his extradition on charges of breaking into Japanese vessel in the Antarctic Ocean in 2010, obstructing the boat's business and causing injury as well as property damage. Angola's president met with his Congolese counterpart on Monday. The two leaders discussed the recent ceasefire brokered between the Eastern Congo and Rwanda, as well as efforts to maintain peace in the region. The meeting focused on strengthening ceasefire and ongoing security challenges affecting the region. Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has demanded transparency in the ongoing investigations into the arrest of two drug lords, Zambada and Joaquin Guzman Lopez. This comes after their recent arrests by US, with both sides giving differing accounts of the arrests. Located in the Quan Son district of Vietnam, Bo Shung Cave displays majestic stalactites found only in 5 other caves in the world. Formed around 4 million years ago, the cave is situated some 420 meters above the sea level, stretching over a kilometer in length. Since its opening to the public in 2023, the cave has become a major tourist attraction with approximately 18,000 visitors. That's all for this edition of DD India Live and Global. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan this QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Global. Namaskar.